Hello, friends. A very warm welcome to Ansarkari. And in this episode third, again we are going with a set of two questions, and we will try to see that how best we can evolve and how best we can put up in the given circumstances. Everybody writes and everybody thinks, and everybody's best comes up in their own way. But there are certain elements which remain constant. That is why the standard of any examination body, or even in life also, there are certain standards which are set. If we are breaching them too often, and if we are violating the boundaries too often, like a river which is flowing and which is having very big banks, and that is what, if the river is swollen too much, then we call it flash floods are coming up. So same thing happens with the exam, same thing happens with the life. There are boundaries. Maybe in examination boundary is smaller, then you actually replicate. When you become an officer in the life, it becomes bigger, and then life itself is biggest. So same is here. Let's see, when the question is asked, then how we are seeing it in the process of taking. Examine the growth of banking in India and the impact of development of entrepreneurship before 1947. I think again a very wonderful thought process and a very good question. And uh, that means two parts are connected. One part is talking about continuous process 1947, post 1947, until today. Anybody, one can bring it, because examine the growth of banking in India and its impact on development of entrepreneurship before 1980, 1947. So entrepreneurship is acting as a kind of a launcher. So that will be acting as a launcher, and the banking will be going on. Banking is the rocket. That's what one can say. So the banking sector in pre-independence India was mostly informal in nature till the arrival of the British. Yeah, we agree that. Then we can say, we have written any other word, in rather than informal, we could have said that modern banking obviously is not there till the arrival of the British. Modern banking is not there. Banking as a system is there since the time, we say, not banking per se, but the time, we say, when we had the metallic money. Even post punchmark coins, after that we can say system is there. Anyways, so we have to think faster and smarter. If we could have written some other word, later it was institutionalized by the introduction of scheduled commercial banks. So again, directly bringing the idea of scheduled commercial bank, before that I can say that imperial banking system, the British imperial banking system came to India, and it tried to create a kind of a structure. When minting is taking place, basically they took over mints. So they decided that, how much, uh, because there was no paper currency initially. Paper currency will be there, but then there is Banaras and in Calcutta. And one more thing which comes to my mind, when if I'm writing a console very quickly. So there were, for example, when we read about Bengal, where the British are coming up. In fact, Jagat Seth, institutions like Jagat Seth and guilds itself were banks, basically. So we could have, we can just try, if we know all this at the back of our mind. So Hindus, bill of exchange, I think wonderfully done. Guild Shreni, बिल्कुल सही बात है, within the family members and relatives. So वही Angadiyas, Agadiyas थे. Agadiyas, you write here and Agadiyas are taking your stuff. So I think fair enough. Early structure, and let's see. Gradually made banking formal and structured. Indian banking house like Jagat Seth Brothers in Bengal, very true. चलिए, Lal Lajpat Rai established bank took place in the form of ICICI Bank. RBI Act 1934 implemented to regulate the bank. How we could have a little bit more, we could have written on RBI. How RBI, there was Hilton and Young Commission also, and how it is trying to showcase that modern finance system in the name of free trade is in India, but actually inside it is, the core is actually very feudalistic, and they are actually breaking the back of India in whatever, whether it is agriculture, whether it is limited entrepreneurship, whatever there. So entrepreneurship word was there. So let's see. Imperial Bank of India, that's what you write said. Shortcomings, bias towards British, high interest rate, and private money lenders trap the farmers. That there was no money like today. I would because we are just discussing openly and we are trying to understand. So like the way today RBI say what is required, RBI says that more ease of credit must be there. So ease of credit was not there, obviously. Ease of credit, our own money, it was a foreign money. So this is shortcoming. It was not our money. If I am a capitalist, Tata, if I am a Parsi, if I am running, I want to start a textile mill, I will get the money, but the money will be foreign money. So the interest I'll be paying it to the foreigner, not to the Indian, not to the Indian entity. So ये वर्ड्स हम यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा कर सकते थे, बट ठीक है, आंसर के एलिमेंट्स आए. आंसर के बहुत सारे एलिमेंट्स जैसे कहते हैं हम जगह जगह से आ रहे हैं एक जगह. So impact on entrepreneurship, large industry setup, Tata Steel at Jamshedpur, very true. So facts, you have brought a lot of facts over here. And cottage industries couldn't gain economies of scale, therefore banking and credit remained lopsided for Indians. Not just that, matlab, if the answer is finished, so what we can just because if we go back to the question again, if you go back to the question again, then you have very true. Examine the growth of banking in India and its impact on the development of entrepreneurship before 1947. So we have to, if I see it again, then uh, you have very beautifully brought all the elements which were there. So what more one could have done within the quick couple of minutes. So the development of banking is actually correlated with the aspect of development of limited industries. So there was limited industrialization. If I use the word, there was a limited industrialization in India, and there were regions. There were regions of growth. For example, a textile. Bombay will become first hub. Ahmedabad was called Manchester of India. So where how it is coming up? So banking is facilitating the growth of clusters, but then it is limited in nature, that you already said, and it is another way of drain of wealth. And because we are talking about economics from the optional perspective, so you could have spoken about some practices like book system, and then there are books like how when you are speaking about the Imperial Bank of India, is it controlling or coordinating with the smaller agencies and banks? वो भी कुछ रेट डिसाइड करेगा. रेट तो था ही. आवर रेट वाज डिसाइडेड बाय ब्रिटिश. वहां से जो हमारा स्टर्लिंग और पाउंड के साथ जो रिलेशन था, तो आई थिंक यू हैव breached one more wall, and it is coming up. Initially when I was looking at the question in very quick manner, I thought I could have interpreted it wrongly also, but then I think it is interpreted in the right way, because it is saying at the end of the examine the growth of banking system in India, and then also entrepreneurship before 1947. So many ideas are coming up. We'll move forward. Do you think that land system was responsible for sustained poverty in India? So it is a very pinpointed question asking for your very clear and very empirical, very empirical approach. So very true. So agriculture was source of largest livelihood in British India, employing more than half laborers. हाँ, मतलब लेबरर्स की जगह आप इसमें क्या लेबरर्स बोलेंगे हम एग्रीकल्चर में, या आपको टिनेंट्स या पेजेंट टिनेंट, ऐसा कुछ और एक अच्छा वर्ड आ सकता है जिससे हम दुख बता सके, क्योंकि वो लेबर तो कर ही रहा है वो. लेकिन लेबरर वर्ड इन पार्लेंस वी यूज फॉर इंडस्ट्रीज एंड मैन्युफैक्चरिंग. लेकिन अगर हम कुछ मोर देन हाफ, क्या मतलब 80% भी हो सकता है. इनफॉर्मल तो है ही पूरा, वो कंप्लीटली इनफॉर्मल है. तो बिल्कुल सही बात है. Land revenue system led to poverty. Absolute poverty grew due to high land revenue demand. For example, permanent settlement Bengal for perpetuity. बिल्कुल सही बात है. Frequent droughts and high dependable on monsoon irrigation system. ठीक बात है. Biased agriculture markets impacted agriculture income. बिल्कुल सही बात है. रैयतवाड़ी and मालवाड़ी टू. Growth of जमींदारीज. तो एक वर्ड यहाँ पे आ सकता था, जैसे कि अगर मैं वही बात करूं जो हम कोशिश भी कर रहे हैं और हम रिवीजन में और वर्ड्स में लिख, जैसे एब्सेंटी लैंडलॉर्डिज्म वाज प्रमोटिंग इट, देयर इज द वन वर्ड. और सब इन्फ्यूडेशन ऑफ लैंड, sub infiltration of land. So there is a chain of feudalism, chain of feudatory activities, absentee landlordism, and then like the way we used one word in the previous answers also, commercialization of agriculture wala aspect bhi, we can just try to bring. So yes, definitely true. Sustained poverty was a consequence of the mix of number of factors apart from land system. I think I like the way you took this poverty cycle. This is going to help. Really, this is going to help. Poverty, farmer, bad harvest. बिल्कुल सही बोला. I think this really helps. तो I think कोशिश अच्छी की. और इसमें क्या हो सकता था सस्टेन पॉवर्टी में, दैट ब्रिटिश गवर्नर, जो मतलब ब्रिटिश जो रिप्रेजेंटेटिव सिस्टम है, गवर्नमेंट है, ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट एट द प्रोविंशियल लेवल, along with the along with princely states, हाई टैक्सेशन था बहुत. तो हाई टैक्सेशन ने मार दिया. तो इसीलिए एग्रीकल्चर, आपने जो शुरू में बोला कि भाई मोर देन हाफ भी क्या कहूंगा, मोर देन 80% है, मतलब यही उसके आगे और उसको स्क्रू टाइट करना है. तो आई थिंक इसमें भी हमने एक और कह सकते हैं एक और लेवल लाने की हमने कोशिश की. सो लेट्स सी वन मोर आंसर हाउ इट इज इन कंपैरिजन. Banking and credit creation is at the heart of industrialization and entrepreneurship. Very true. See, India had traditional banking system even before British arrived. We also discussed that. I told you yes, there was so informal नहीं बोल सकते हम. There this marks a shift towards more orderly and formal evolution. ठीक है भाई हमने बोल दिया चलिए. Pre British institution में traditional banking structure called hundis and the bankers called shroffs. बिल्कुल shroff कहते थे उनको. They received support and deposit from royalty and kings. Very clearly written. Very true. They financed much of internal trade. Fund mobilization was influenced by caste identity. चलो ये भी मान लिया. एक बता दिया एक तरीके से. Arrival of the British, रॉयल पेट्रोनेज वेंट अवे, ब्रिटिश नॉट इंटरेस्टेड इन डिपॉजिटिंग मनी विद हुंडीज. बिल्कुल बहुत अच्छा, मतलब सिंपल तरीके से बोला. हिंदुइज डिसिपिटेटेड. तो प्रोसेस बता दिया. अब a three-tier banking structure established. प्रेसिडेंसी बैंक्स, जॉइंट स्टॉक, एक्सचेंज बैंक्स. बिल्कुल सही बात है. मैंने भी आपको बोला कि भाई हम शेड्यूल कमर्शियल बैंक डायरेक्ट नहीं बोल सकते. प्रेसिडेंसी कहाँ हो गए? बॉम्बे, मद्रास, कलकत्ता. जॉइंट स्टॉक हो गए 5, और तीसरे में जो हमने लिखा है एक्सचेंज हो गया. इनफॉर्मल, वही इनफॉर्मल जो इनफॉर्मल स्ट्रक्चर है. Formal banking, presidency banks only cater to the need of the British and European industrialists. Joint stock इसी को दोबारा से वो कर दिया. ठीक है, this is economics, so I can't fault out. Dualistic structure, Allahabad Bank, Punjab National Bank gave credit to secure borrowers. Big industries were main clients. Invest in government securities. This government securities is what I other like. It's a good word. Other banks were characterized by major boom and busts. That also I agree. Gave credit to risky borrowers. High interest rates offered to attract more deposits. Interest in risky assets. So from the banking, as I was trying to think from the RBI perspective, so this element is visible. Thus, very unstable due to absence of regulations and huge demand for capital. They made banking system unstable. I agree. एक्सचेंज बैंक में आ गए फिर उसके बाद, मतलब जो लिखा है शुरू में उसी को डिटेल में कर दिया क्योंकि इकोनॉमिक्स ऑप्शनल है. दे डेल्ट इन फाइनेंसिंग सेक्टोरल ट्रेड, या सॉरी एक्सटर्नल ट्रेड बिल्कुल होंगे. और जैसे मैंने पहले भी बोला है कि ड्रेन ऑफ वेल्थ का तरीका ये था. फॉर्मल बैंक्स रेयरली इफ एवर लेंड टू फार्मर्स, स्मॉल ट्रेडर, दस लेफ्ट द मार्केट अनएड्रेस्ड. सिंपल वर्ड बट वेरी क्लियर. द प्रॉम्प्ट इनफॉर्मल मनी लेंडर्स, this prompt informal money lender to fill the gap. The knowledge about client, uh, the client के बाद क्या है ये? Full
flexibility.
Flexibility. The offer gave the upper edge to the, but the change huge money in interest. So ये component जो है already repeat हुआ है, मतलब in the sense कि this is a structure which we can discuss. Impact on entrepreneurs, last में बात की. Access to capital remained very limited. We also said that credit crunch is there. We also said that financial market almost absent. बिल्कुल सही बात है. Capital market तो है ही नहीं. Big Five didn't lend the entrepreneurs. Their reliance on other banks lead to over capitalization of huge excess capacity. It will be leading to boom and a major decline during depression. Thus, what we can say, thus
pro-cyclical.
Pro-cyclical lending made the business cycle aggravate and business became very risky. Small entrepreneurial reliance on money, lenders exposed them to unregulated, we also said it, high interest and the loss of assets due to harsh recovery. Very true. Thus, banking system, though developed in India, it didn't cater to the demands of entrepreneurs in pre-independence time. Coming to the next one, then we can speak up. British land revenue as the most sustainable way of extracting wealth. Agreed. The land system was introduced to maximize revenue by British at the cost of pauperization of peasants. So I like the word pauperization of peasants. This again is a very good phrase. And destruction of rural relations. Very good. Rural, even in fact, rural relationship, rural economy, rural ecosystem was collapsed. So land systems impact on poverty. No attempt were made to scientifically study the yield, but maximization of profit was the only consideration. I like it. This is also good. Created an exploitation cadre of middlemen and zamindars. So we also put it, but we didn't put it, with an epithet. हमने epithet नहीं दिया. Especially in permanent settlement area, they extracted high revenue from peasants, leading to pauperization. Monetization of land revenue and sunset clause prompted farmer to take loan from land by mortgaging land. So again, is economic term, mortgaging land, leading to increased landlessness. Obviously, I agree. The interest rates charged by moneylenders was exorbitantly high. Farmers fell into debt trap. There were no remissions offered in case of crop failure. Increased burden on farmers. Absentee landlordism and absence of proper implementation of patta system discouraged farmer tillers land laborers to invest in land on land, productivity started declining. Okay, the traditional relationship between zamindars and tillers that offered support during the natural calamity was destroyed. British, apart from some investment in canal irrigation, did not invest in agriculture. Productivity declined. So I think लिखा general है. अभी हम बात करते हैं. Monetization of land system led to forceful adaptation of commercialization of agriculture. I also said it that you are missing this point, which benefited only the British zamindars. Result क्या हुआ देखिए. लैंड इनइक्वलिटी एंड लैंडलेसनेस. 7% पीपल है, 75% लैंड है. 48 कुछ भी लिख दिया एट द टाइम ऑफ इंडिपेंडेंस. ठीक है, आपने एक डेटा दे दिया. तीर्थाकर रे showed, we have also read तीर्थाकर रे, you have read that, showed that real wages of agriculture remained stagnant. नाम लिख दिया, बस बात खत्म. Productivity declined and the scarcity of food started rising, resulting in inflation. बिल्कुल सही बोला. Dominated by food inflator as shown by इरफान हबीब. ठीक है, हमने भी पढ़ा है ये. Thus famine increased in India. Due to industrialization, the pressure on land increased further, reducing bargaining power of peasants. Very true. Thus, we can say that the land system in India was one of the major factors of sustained poverty. Other factors, as shown by Ranade, includes backwardness of agriculture, partially a result of land system and deindustrialization. Dadabhai Naoroji showed drain theory being responsible for poverty, while British blame poverty on population. So I think a very very subtle but very structured we could see. So honestly, if we compare, then we are breaching. Obviously, we are breaching couple of walls. We are breaching couple of areas, and we are bringing certain certain very crucial elements in the answer, which are definitely hitting the wall. So you tell me what when you felt when you wrote it, and now when we discussed it. So if you are putting yourself into that shoes, what exactly do you think? Not I'm saying that answer, but the clarity and the key words and your own structure is coming up, because the diagram that you draw, the cyclical diagram, it was also perfect. So how you are going to create our own orchard?
So firstly, I have to focus little more on the keywords, जो heavy terms होते हैं. That
बिल्कुल है
हाँ, वो थोड़ा और रिफ्लेक्ट होना चाहिए इन दी आंसर. एंड आंसर को लाइट रखना है, वो इम्पोर्टेंट है ही. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दिस सर, थोड़ा सा मल्टीपल एलिमेंट्स, तो आई थिंक जब मैं सेकेंड राउंड एक बार आई विल गो थ्रू, तो कुछ पॉइंट मैं वहां से पिक
आएंगे वो.
करके, हाँ, तो वहां से आई थिंक और इम्प्रूव हो सकता है. सो यही सब मेजर लर्निंग जो मेरे को
बिल्कुल सही बात है. मुझे ऐसा यही लगा है कि जो कीवर्ड है राइट वे पे, यानी कि द अमाउंट ऑफ इंट्रोस्पेक्शन एंड द अमाउंट ऑफ सेल्फ रिफ्लेक्शन, what we know, because this is self reflection completely. The self answer is, it is not an answer. Nobody can write like this just by reading. You have to self reflect, because nobody knows that I will write Irfan Habib, I will write Tirthankar Ray, because more work is done and then it is consolidated in a small way. So all these things we have read, we have number of books we have covered, we have made our own. So I think definitely trajectory on track. But as I just said, how much to write and what picture to portray, like in fact मैं तो मतलब प्री इंडिपेंडेंस बोल रहे हैं, तो मैं तो एक लाइन जैसे मैंने बोला, मन भाई था, मेटलिक मनी तो था
जी.
तो वो थोड़ा सा टच किया, जैसे बोल दिया कि भाई कास्ट आइडेंटिटी पे था, श्रेणी नहीं लिखा, कोई बात नहीं, लेकिन हुंडी तो बता ही दिया. आगड़िया तो वर्ड उन्होंने भी नहीं लिखा. और उसके बाद जो मैंने बात बोली आपको कि भाई बैंक तो हैं, क्लस्टर हैं, अभी भी मतलब मॉडर्न इंडिया पे फोकस किया कि प्रेसिडेंसी बैंक थे, तो मैं तो वो भी बोल रहा हूँ, वो भी मत लिखो आप. तो बैंकिंग सिस्टम का इवोल्यूशन तो इंडस्ट्री से जुड़ा हुआ है, और इंडस्ट्री तो क्लस्टर्ड नहीं थी, मतलब इंडस्ट्री तो पॉकेट्स में है. फर्स्ट जब टेक्सटाइल मिल खुली होगी 1853 में, जब बॉम्बे में, पैसा तो उसके लिए भी चाहिए था ना. कहाँ से आया वो? तो कोई तो इंस्टीट्यूशन आया, यानी कि हमारे इंस्टीट्यूशन को सिस्टमेटिकली डिसमेंटल कर दिया. पहले ब्रिटिश ने जगत सेठ और जो श्रेणी गिल्ड और जो राजा थे, उन्हीं से उधार लिया पहले. अंग्रेज उससे उधार लेते, और उसके बाद उन्होंने उसी को तोड़कर, और जो है वही इंपीरियल एजेंसीज, और जैसा अभी जैसे हिल्टन एंड यंग कमीशन की बात नहीं की, आरबीआई 1934 में जब बनता है, यानी कि आरबीआई 1934 में एक दिन में तो नहीं बन गया, वो 1834 यानी फाइनेंशियल डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन की जब बात हो रही है, लॉर्ड मेयो ने 1860 में बात कर रहा है। 1860 में लॉर्ड मेयो ने फाइनेंशियल
1934 में है।
हाँ,
1934।
ये तो 1934 है। लॉर्ड मेयो 1860 में फाइनेंशियल डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन की बात कर रहा है।
हम्म।
उसके बाद लॉर्ड रिपन ने फाइनेंशियल डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन को और आगे बढ़ाया,
जी
और लॉर्ड कर्जन ने भी फाइनेंशियल डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन को आगे बढ़ाया। मतलब यहाँ तो तुम डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन को बढ़ा रहे हो कि भाई डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन क्या है, तुम अपना खर्चा खुद चलाओ,
जी।
लेकिन देश भी तो चल रहा था।
हाँ।
तो यानी कि पहले वाले आंसर में मतलब बताया, लेकिन हम भी उसको, और दूसरे वाले आंसर में हम ज्यादा नजदीक पहुंचे। लेकिन जैसे मैंने आपसे कहा था कि एब्सेंटी लैंडलॉर्डिज्म,
हाँ जी।
या फिर यू नो, कैन यू हियर मी, मैंने कहा कि सेकंड वाले आंसर में एब्सेंटी लैंडलॉर्डिज्म, पॉपुलराइजेशन, और
हम्म।
फिर एक तरीके से हल्का सा तार बताना है कि हाँ भाई बिल्कुल, मतलब था तो इंडस्ट्री से, तो हम इंडस्ट्री नहीं थी इसलिए हम गरीब नहीं हुए, इसलिए नहीं मरे,
हम्म।
एग्रीकल्चर से हमें चूज लिया गया। तो आपने भी रहतवारी महलवारी सारा बताया। लेकिन वही बात है कि जो बिना शो ऑफ के, बिना स्टाइल के जो सब्सटेंस है आंसर में,
हम्म।
वो और बढ़ जाए, और वही छोटे छोटे एलिमेंट आए कि क्रेडिट एक्सेस है कि, और या फिर मतलब
जी।
बात वही की बिना रिपीटिशन के, मैं ये
हाँ।
कह सकता हूँ।
हम्म। हाँ जी सर।
सो आई थिंक वी विल कंटिन्यू टू वर्क on the same intensity and same same uh, honesty and integrity, so that we are getting the best in the process, which is a continuous, a very very rewarding, a very happy, and also a very very motivating process. So that's what we try to do, so that we reach our goal without regret. So thank you very much for being with us on Ansarkari, and we'll get back with the more such experimental, such forward looking, and such concrete basic discussions. Thank you very much.